So get you some popcorn and get ready, because this is about to go down with nothing but the facts. It's no secret how the African American community have been treated in St. Louis.
Across the United States, there are many cities that have segregated neighborhoods and divided areas. But here in St. Louis, if you drive down Delmar Boulevard and you get out and you talk to some of the people here, they call it the Delmar Divide. It's because whites are on that side and blacks on the other side. The economic disparity is right out in the open.
The disconnect is social, it's political, and it's economic. And the geographical divide, where you have persons of color largely living in one segment of the city and the county, and whites and persons with means living in another segment of the city and the county, only exacerbates that.
As you drive up, you'll start to see like the difference in development. And the north is where there's like less development, and the south is generally where there's been more.
From the air, the Delmar Divide is clear to see. The neighborhood north of Delmar Boulevard is 99% black.
For instance, just going into North City, you know, if you're white, most people just think, oh yeah, I just can't go there. You know, whether it is racism, whether it's just a community that you just don't interact with as much, you know, which is sad. I think there is some underlying racism.
For the first time in 20 years, we got a mayor that cares about all the people, all the neighborhoods. For the first time, we see homes on the north side being knocked down, new homes being developed. We even getting a new 911 call center. On top of all of this work that our mayor has been doing, we have seen the agenda from certain groups of people.
This is a prime example of what I mean by people outside the city of St. Louis interfering and spreading rhetoric about the city. Look at her page.
Let's discuss Alderwoman Spencer. Alderwoman Spencer been in St. Louis most of her life. She been an alderwoman for 10 years. But yet somehow she did not realize that our dumpsters were specially made.
Now these are city trash cans right here with hooks on them. This is a private trash can.
And Ms. Spencer posted pictures of overflowing trash dumpsters that were private dumpsters, so that was misleading at best. And when it comes to our trash trucks, we know exactly where they're going because they have GPS. And if she would talk to the streets director or the refuse director, she would know that we know exactly where our trash trucks are and where they go every day because we have GPS that tracks these trucks.
This is more proof that the people who are handling her put out publications of this dumpster. And I had to take the time out my day to go figure out and zoomed in, and well,
I decided to zoom in a little bit. And as we get closer and closer, I'm like, now we see who the owner of this trash can is. Then I decided to look a little closer to the company. Go to their website. This is what I see. Didn't see not one African American on the website. But again, it's not even in St. Louis City. That's the CEO of the company. Alderwoman Spencer buying out the clergy. Alderwoman Spencer finessing and manipulating African Americans to vote for her. Alderwoman Spencer going around giving out gift cards to people to vote for her.
We know around the United States, they've been having issues around the snowstorms and getting trash picked up. Let's go.
Now, it's important to note, though, many of those trash trucks drivers actually had to get behind the wheel of a plow in Kansas City, but still homeowners say they just want to know the next step.
Another consequence of all the snow and ice coming down this past week, your trash. Services have been placed on hold because residential streets still aren't clear.
It stopped falling outside, but the trash is now piling up in some Front Range neighborhoods.
It's going to be days before it gets picked up.
We get off the roads. Ken Atencio is the senior district manager for waste management. He says they kept the trucks off the streets during the storm to keep everyone safe.
And on top of the snow, the trash is beginning to pile up. Pickup days have been missed, and it's unclear when city garbage trucks will even be able to get down these alleys. If neighborhood side streets are impassable right now, the alleys are impossible.
Salt around her car when the truck got stuck. The driver hit some snow buildup and said, help wouldn't come for another 2 hours. So Richie decided to share some of her salt to help free the truck. And a little while later, he came back to make sure her good deed didn't go unnoticed.
Hello?
I had no cash, but...
Oh. Oh, no, you're okay. Yeah, no, you can have it. What if you need lunch?
Was almost 2 weeks ago. It was one of the worst ones we've had in a while.
To get that much snow, sleet, all in a 24-hour period, and then below freezing temperatures, there's not enough manpower in the world who could have fixed this.
Garbage has piled up in almost every alley because our refuse workers can't get down the alley safely to pick up trash.
So I talked with a man who's been driving a trash truck for over a decade. He said those trucks don't have four-wheel drive. They can't put chains on them. And he said being out there on snowy roads, it really does nobody any good if he gets in a wreck or slides off into a ditch and then can't finish his route.
Also said with an accumulation of 6 inches of snow or temperatures below 10 degrees, refuse drivers do not have to drive per their union contract.
When we first began to treat this winter storm, we did it with the same tools the city has been using every winter for quite a long time.
Here is a video from 6 years ago. Let's not waste no more time. Let's go.
The City of St. Louis's policy is to plow only priority 1 and 2 snow routes across the city.
As those are our priorities.
That includes major state highways. In St. Louis County, MoDOT handles those roads. In the city, they handle everything but the interstates.
I'm not sure who agreed to it, but that was many years ago, and I'm not sure how it came to be.
It also has to do with the type of trucks that they have. It really all comes down to the numbers. This plow is 12 feet wide. But out on Elizabeth Avenue, that measures to about 15 feet. You do the math. That's not much room to spare. I asked Flake if that means the city should buy smaller plows.
And if I replace this fleet and change out 10 of these trucks with 12-foot plows, the trucks with 8-foot plows that are tiny pickups, it's going to slow down the major street operation.
They say they have heard their residents loud and clear, and no change needs to happen in how the city addresses winter weather and their streets.
Using ARPA funds, we've purchased more additional smaller fleet with the objective of being able to get down those residential streets, like I said, without taking off those mirrors and burying those cars in.
Reported in St. Louis City.
We've had crews working over the weekend, working overtime over the weekend, and they will continue to work this week as well.
I don't think that it's been enough of an effort.
They posted photos of refuse workers on the job and said they collected nearly 350 tons of trash over the weekend. Understand that cleaning it up will take time.
They're trying, not as much as we want them to, but they're
Connor Kerrigan with the mayor's office says the streets department is making progress in catching up with the mess and will focus its efforts on trash collection over the weekend with help from other pickup crews.
You're going to see the full force of the city out. We're blitzing the entire city trying to get all this refuse cleaned up. Those trash trucks will come through. That debris crew will come through after them, make sure that everything's picked up. We're also going to have our bulk pickup folks out as well.
We know that Alderwoman Spencer got 2 big donors, Bob Clark and Paul McKee.
McKee, still one of the largest landowners in the city. Vacant lots, abandoned buildings. Why the delayed development? What's his plan to address the years of decaying in dilapidated buildings he owns?
1 year ago, Mayor Tisharon Jones signed Board Bill 174 to allow for economic redevelopment.
North City residents that live around Paul McKee's developments have suffered for far too long.
Neighbors, again, should not have to see these vacant properties outside of their homes. The Land Clearance for Redevelopment Authority for the City of St. Louis and the St. Louis Development Corporation began condemning dozens of the properties, most of them owned by McKee.
It's a new day in development in the city of St. Louis, and this isn't targeted at one specific individual, and this is about an entire neighborhood or neighborhoods.
Friday morning will be the third reading for the perfection of the bill. The land McKee has assembled could be in jeopardy because of eminent domain.
A real coincidence that Ms. Spencer's PAC received a $10,000 donation from the Bank of Washington, who controls all of Paul McKee's interests, on the day that we sent LRA or LCRA letters getting eminent domain from his property.
All right,
the track record of Paul McKee speaks for itself.
We're going to continue on this issue. Whether it's me or Bob Clark or...
Bob Clark wanted the dome. The mayor said no. She said no. He wanted to build a cement plant right on the north side about our children. The mayor said no.
Not a cement plant. And cement plants add to the amount of pollution that's in the air and affects the neighborhood.
Concrete is the second most consumed material on Earth, but it's a major polluter. Cement, its key ingredient, contributes 8% of global CO2 emissions.
The answer to Clayco is still no.
Development has to happen with community, not to community.
Clayco founder Bob Clark posted on X, "We're mad as blank and we're not going to take it anymore. City leadership is failing its people." St. Louis Mayor Tashara Jones responded, "Hey, Bob, I'm right here and my phone number hasn't changed. You do still have it, don't you? Name calling on the socials isn't going to help you win friends or influence people." Clark responded, "Hey, Mayor Jones, let's have a debate in public. You pick the venue." The mayor answered, "Again, you have my number. Call me anytime. Be blessed."
See, Bob Clark got mad at the mayor, and he could not buy her out. So I believe he found somebody he can buy out.
Clark is cutting a check for exactly $111,330.25. He says it's for the PAC group, A Brighter Future for St. Louis, in support of mayoral candidate and current alderwoman Kara Spencer. Clark says this is the amount Mayor Jones cost him because of a lack of support for economic development in North St. Louis. Clark tells me this donation is the same amount Clayco spent responding to the city's request for proposals to redevelop roughly 16 acres of city-owned land in North City. Part of the proposal included developing the former St. Louis Army ammunition plant at Goodfellow Boulevard and Interstate 70.
Of work, so it's easy to see that that's the mayor's track record and not mine. I, on the other hand, have a long track record of fighting against special interests, fighting against slumlords, and fighting against the wrongdoing in our community.
Out of all the candidates, only one could not speak and quote a scripture. That was Alderwoman Spencer.